I'd like to call the meeting to order. Good evening and welcome to the March 30th, 2026 special council meeting. All members of council are present and there is a quorum. There are going to be a couple of that are going to be a little late, but we're going to get started. This meeting is being held in person and also being live streamed on YouTube. I'd like to acknowledge the one member of the public that's here and the ones that are listening online. We appreciate the diverse population that we have living in Middleton. Approval of the agenda.
Move that it be approved as circulated.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those against? Motion carried. All right, moving into new business 3.1, RFD 022-2026. Approval of the 2026-2027 operating budget. Director of Finance.
Thank you, Mayor. In this RFD, we have the operating budget attached, the tax rate resolution, the sewer service charge bylaw, and then sewer usage charge, both taxable and tax exempt properties. Sarah, if you could go down to in the PowerPoint, sorry. Slide 26.
26.
Please. Thank you. So the only change to the operating budget from what was presented last week is the added back grants. So that brings our deficit to $18,797. And if we flip to the, we'll flip down to the last two slides, so slide 120. Please. So there we're just showing that that's the only change. So we started at 797 and now we're at 18,797. And then the final slide there, slide 121. Thank you. So the recommendation of staff is that council give authorization in advance for any transfer of actual surplus at year end 25-26 to the operating reserve, and funding the deficit will be done using prior year surplus in the operating reserves, and tax rates are held steady at the 25-26 rates.
The
I would just add one more thing. So we're not bringing forward a recommendation today via an RFD that council approve in advance that transfer of surplus to operating reserve. It'll come at the April 7th committee bowl. And as a reminder, there's a bunch of resolutions that have to be read to pass the budget that are required. So they're a little bit lengthy, whoever chooses to read them.
We have
Are you ready for the first one or?
informed vote.
You have four.
yeah,
Okay.
I'll go for it. I'll move the town council estimates that the sum required for the lawful purposes of the town for the year 2026-2027, after crediting probable revenues from all sources other than the rates for the year, is the sum of $5,095,585. The town council hereby authorizes the levying and collection of a rate for the current year of $4.3 per hundred on the value of property assessed in the assessment roll as commercial property and business occupancy, and $1.82 per $100 on the value of property assessed in the assessment roll as residential and resource property. The rate of $3.14 per acre for property assessed in the assessment rolls as farm acreage, and the rate of $3.23 per $100 on the value of property assessed in the assessment roll as seasonal tourist businesses, and a sewer service charge of a flat rate of $250 plus an additional rate of $0.1512 per $100 on the value of the property assessed in the assessment roll as taxable residential and commercial property on which any building is connected to the sewage system of the town, and a fire protection hydrant rate of 14.41 cents per $100 on the value of all properties assessed in the assessment roll. These being the rates the council deems sufficient to raise the sum to defray the expenditures of the town for the current year. And that the rates and taxes be due and payable the last business day of September 2026. And that an interest rate of 18% per annum compounded be charged on the 2026-2027 final tax bills still outstanding after the last business day of September 2026. And that a sewer usage rate of $0.936 per 1 cubic meter of water consumed by tax exempt properties which are not paying full grants in lieu of taxation be levied in accordance with the sewer service charge bylaw for the year 2026-2027.
Second it.
Sure.
Discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Motion carried. Thank you. Councilor Smith for doing that.
So there is one more motion that was actually above that one.
Right, so
Go to.
I'll move that council approve the 2026-27 town general operating budget as presented with total expenditures of $5,095,585.
You want me to do it over?
I'll second
Discussion?
The only question I have is, we alluded to how this was, the deficit was gonna be paid. And it was gonna be from what we had over in our last budget. Do we have any idea what that's gonna be, like any numbers?
Yes, so I circulated an email. We talked about it at the last meeting. I think the last forecast that we presented to council showed a deficit of about $12,000 and change. And then I've since spoken to the Department of Justice regarding what our final RCMP bill will look like for the year. And because there was a couple officers that were hired a bit later than we budgeted, we'll have some savings there. So that converted everything to, I think, a surplus of 35,000, I think I had in the email. But that is just projected at this point in time. Like, we still have to get through year end and.
I guess that's what I was asking, if there was any further projections since then. Sorry, I said that wrong there. Thank you.
All those in favor?
Yeah,
Aye. Against? It is motion carried. RFD 024, 2026 approval of order, the utility budget. And Director of Finance, you gonna speak to that or?
I think, sorry, I think we missed the
Thank you.
capital budget.
We have the capital budget next, Mayor.
So?
We have the capital budget as our next item, 3.4.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's for the best of us.
We applaud your keenness.
Yeah, well, you know, I don't want to make it like so.
So,
Yes, okay, the capital budget,
Thank you. So there were no changes from what was presented at the last council meeting. So for the 26-27 year, we have 1.576 million in capital projects. That's across town, general and water. And in the 5-year capital spending is budgeted to be 10.6 million. And I'm not sure if there's anything else I should be highlighting here.
I'll move the,
No, go ahead.
I'll move the council approve the 2026-2027 capital budget for the town general and water in the amount of $1,576,009 as presented.
Second.
questions? All those in favor? Oh,
Aye.
did you,
No, I'm fine with that. That's, no, I know the answer.
all those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Motion carried. All right,
I'll move the council approve the 5-year town general capital budget for the years 2026, 27, 27, 28, 28, 29, 29, 30, 30, 31, in the amount of $10,640,555.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carried.
I'll move the council approve the 5-year capital budget for the Middleton Water Utility for the years 26, 27, 27, 28, 28, 29, 29, 30, and 30, 31. In the amount of $1,637,522.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carried.
And I'll move the council receive the presentation of the 5-year capital budget for the years 26, 27 to 30, 31 in the amount of $12,278,077 and direct staff to file the 5-year capital investment plan with the province.
I'll second it.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? And motion carried. Right. Eight point three, RFD 024-2026, approval of water utility budgets. Ready, finance?
Thank you. The 3-year water operating budget is as was presented at the last council meeting. I don't think there's anything else that I need to add to that, so I will stop talking.
Alrighty.
Be it res-
Go ahead.
Be it resolved that the town of Middleton water utility operating budgets for the years 2026, 27, 27, 28, and 28, 29, with planned expenditures amounts of $1,062,303, $1,198,407, $1,222,375 respectively, and projecting no annual surplus or deficits be approved.
Do we care that there was a slight numerical error
Yeah.
there?
Did I have a numerical?
Yeah.
For the first year dollar amount,
You said 3 instead of 2. Oh,
the $1,062,300.
301. I stand corrected.
amended.
Second.
All, discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those against? Motion carried.
I just didn't know if that throughout the world or.
I'm gonna pass these really the rate numbers. Alrighty. 2.4 RFP 025-26, appointment list CAO Crocker.
Thank you, Mayor. So some background on this, we were part of the Joint Police Advisory Board with Annapolis County last year in 2025. In December, the town requested that the Department of Justice approve the dissolution of the joint PAB and allow the town to form its own. This request was approved by the Minister of Justice in February. So a new town police advisory board requires 7 members, 3 members of council, 3 citizens of the town, and 1 provincial representative, and that seat's never been filled since I've been here. Staff created a new application form for citizens to apply through the police advisory board and advertise for the position. So we did receive only 3 candidates, and I did circulate the actual application forms to council via email, so you have them. They're not attached here, just the updated appointment list, but staff are recommending that we appoint Joanne Hightower, Janet Davis, and David Brittany to the town's police advisory board. So perhaps we might want to deal with that motion first, and then there are some other pieces to this appointment list that we need to discuss as well.
I'll move the council on recommendation from the CAO appoint Joanne Hightower, Janet Davis, and David Brittany to the town's police advisory board.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carried.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard, Joanne.
So the second part to this RFD and appointment list update is we do need 3 counselors to sit on the police advisory board as well. So I don't know if Mary, you want to call for expressions of interest to sit on the board, and if there are more than 3, I did prepare with paper ballots.
Yes, I would like to put out that would like to sit on the police advisory board. But everybody is welcome. So,
I would like to put my name forward if them.
okay. We need to. What's that?
I'm good.
Oh, you're good?
I'm good. No, I'm on a few committees. And, if you need to fill a seat, sure, but, no, I'll allow anyone else that would like to express interest.
Then I'll have to give something else up because I can't. It's too much.
John? Pardon?
I'm sorry.
I've been on it for 6 years now. I think that if we need fresh faces and fresh ideas, that I'm certainly willing to stay off it.
Okay, well, we still need one more.
I will step forward, but I may have to, the appointment list might be changed because I may have to step down from other committees.
What do you want that you might consider giving up?
Water source protection.
And audit committee is the other one.
I don't mind sitting on the audit. It's like 3 times a year.
Source water is too.
Oh, is it?
Source water is quarterly.
I could stay on all committees.
We're about to have a new member joining us in about a month. Is the election?
Yes.
Remember on that? Do those positions have to be filled right away, or do we want to leave some space open for?
So my suggestion in the RFP is that we fill the vacant seats at least on an interim basis, and then we'll have to rediscuss this appointment list when we have a new member of council, because we do have source water meetings and audit committee meetings coming up that previously Councilor Fournier was on. And I just would hate to see us not meet quorum because
Stay on.
we don't.
So under that, because I've already got my criminal record search and all that kind of stuff done, I'll stay on the police advisory board until.
And I have mine done.
I had mine done.
Well, I mean, instead of changing into source water.
Okay.
Sorry, thank you, John.
Until we have another election, and then we can try to fill it then.
Okay,
Or I can go on and stay on. Then you don't have to do it again, because then you have to.
And I'm fine with that too.
so,
And
so,
I'd just like to say for the record, I don't mind going on the police advisory board, just that I'm on a few committees now.
yeah,
But I also have been an advocate for a change in policing or the quality of policing that we have, and I'm not sure if that's the position of the police advisory board, then sure. But if I'm in a better position where I sit, then so be it.
I think we're in a better position where you sit.
A very similar position that I'm in, that I would rather be on the outside of it,
I think you should sit in.
keeping an eye on things.
Stay where I am.
I would.
Come to the meetings and raise bells.
Well, no, I don't mean that, but I'm hoping that from what the presentation we have from the Department of Justice and the purpose of the police advisory board is to be the voice of the community and to the RCMP, and also with the RCMP with us that day, it's been clear that there is a role the police advisory boards play that has been more than what it has been. So with the new board moving forward, I think all of our concerns shall hopefully be brought forward.
okay, so,
So would council put forward a motion then to appoint Councillor Knapp, Councillor Archibald, and Mayor Smith to the police advisory board?
So.
Second that.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. Thank you,
So-
everybody.
So the other 2 positions that we were looking for somebody to just step up, at least on an interim basis, until we have the by-election, is the audit committee is missing a town representative, and so is the source water protection. So would there be two members of council that would consider other than Counselor Nat?
Town
because you're already on the-
representative or a council?
Counselor, sorry. Yeah, counselor.
I would volunteer for the audit one if you need
Okay.
somebody.
And I'll volunteer for source water.
Okay,
Okay,
perfect.
thank you.
So we'll make those changes to the appointment list and recirculate, so, I think the draft motion could stand to approve the appointment list as amended with Counselor Bartlett on source water and Counselor Smith on audit committee.
I'll move the council approve the 2026 appointment list as amended.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Yeah, motion carried. And RFD 026-2026 award or RFP for climate risk assessment. CAO.
Thank you, Mayor. So there is a little bit of background to this RFP, especially for those members of council that are new. I think in early 2024, through the intermunicipal, Annapolis County Intermunicipal Working Group that we have with the County of Annapolis and the towns of Annapolis Rural. One of the first things that we did at one of our first meetings was review our climate change plans. And we all realized that our existing plans are a bit out of date and decided to try to form a joint climate change action plan for Annapolis County as a whole, with particular nuances relating to each municipal unit put in appendices if needed. So we applied for funding jointly and were selected to participate in the Community Climate Capacity Program, which is funded by the province's Department of Environment and Climate Change. So as part of this program, Clean Foundation will provide a staff person to work with 3 municipal units over a 3-year period. So they have been doing that. They've been doing some sessions recently. We have them on the agenda for the April 7th committee of the whole meeting for them to present their What We Heard report, and I just circulated that report out to council today. So we also, through the advice of the Clean Foundation, applied for funding through the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, or FCM, their Green Municipal Fund, to complete a climate risk assessment for the town of Middleton to specifically identify climate hazards and assess the vulnerability of the town. So that information will be used to help create the joint climate change action plan from the town of Middleton's perspective. So we were awarded a grant of $70,000 through that fund in May 2025. The climate risk assessment has to be performed by a consultant, like a professional in the field. We don't have staff in-house that have that knowledge or capacity. So we issued a request for proposals through the Nova Scotia procurement website in accordance with our procurement policy because it's over the $50,000 threshold for services. We received 12 responses, which is the most responses I've received on an RFP since I've been with the town. So a lot of interest, which was really good to see. So we did have evaluation criteria in the RFP. So related experience was worth 40%, cost was worth 40%, value added services 10, and RFP content and completeness 10. The bids were originally evaluated by Clean Foundation with town staff providing the final review and recommendation. So although all 12 proponents had very strong bids, staff are recommending awarding the RFP to DeWolf and Moore Surveying Limited. They're right here in town. They had the overall highest score. They also had the lowest cost bid and can complete the work in the timeline required. They have sufficient experience in climate change adaptation, and they're familiar, obviously, with the town of Middleton's infrastructure already. Under the financial implication section, I included a snapshot of our funding agreement with FCM. So the total project budget was $85,500. The consultant fee of $50,000 is what we're recommending to award the bid, so it's well within the budget of the grant. And then you'll notice in there that the town of Middleton is required to provide a cash contribution of $10,000 And I actually worked with the Clean Foundation to have them agree to provide that for us. So we'll be issuing them an invoice for that. So the resulting financial impact on the town is mainly zero, other than some staff time, which has been my time to oversee the grant, and I'll have to help Clean Foundation oversee the consultant and understand what they're doing. So I guess I've included a summary of the evaluation of all the bids, and you can see the blue highlighted one is the recommendation. We did do a final review of the top 3 scores just to kind of double check that we were making the correct recommendation, and we agreed that we wanted to move forward with this recommendation for DeWolf and Morse. And then I also attached a copy of their bid. I attached a copy of their grant agreement with FCM, and then the award letter, just in case council wanted to kind of see the background of this whole project and how it ties into the original joint climate change action plan that we're doing with the county of Annapolis and the town of Annapolis as well. But overall, a very good news story, getting some work done to help, address climate change. And we've certainly seen some effects of climate change on our roads with the potholes, and whatnot. So it'll be interesting to see if there's, anything else that we should be concerned about with respect to like our infrastructure.
Thank you. Is there any questions?
I'll move the council award the RFP for climate risk assessment to DeWolf and Morse Surveying Limited for an estimated amount of $50,565 plus HST.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those against? Motion carried. Okay.
That's good. That's good.
Participation in the Valley Rent. Constable Archibald.
So I move that council authorize the town of Middleton's withdrawal from the Valley Regional Enterprise Network, the REN, REN, effective March 31st, 2028, and give 24 months notice to the other parties as per section 38 of the intermunicipal services agreement dated May 5th, 2023.
Second that.
Discussion?
I'm gonna make a few comments on this. I get the feeling that most are wanting to do this because everyone else seems to do it. It's not how I like to do things. If you look at probably a majority of the other towns, municipalities that are involved in this, they have either an economic development officer, an active chamber of commerce, which we may be part of, but it's not active down here. A business group that we don't have. You look at around town and we have how many storefronts that are empty and been empty for quite a while? So the only other option that was ever presented to us was an economic development officer for 1 out of 10 days shared with Annapolis County. So we're giving up something that at least works with businesses in town. Works, with different groups through, or different initiatives, and their initiatives are being cut back by the provincial government. But now we're left with nothing. Where is this town going to be without nobody to advocate for businesses in town or to try to do anything? So, I mean, at a time when CFB Greenwood is increasing what they're doing, bringing in all these extra people, and we want people to move to Middleton, but there's going to be nothing for them to move here. There's hardly anything here now. We have, two businesses that have closed down recently. We had a bank that's moved and left an empty space. There's nothing here. Anyways, I'm gonna strongly oppose this because of all those things. I just wanted to have my say.
Yes, Councilor Smith.
I'd like to address a couple of those comments. The businesses that have closed, the bank that's left the area, same bank that's left all 3 communities within Annapolis County, all of those things occurred while we were a member of the REN. So I'm not sure that they have the power to stop that outward migration of these businesses that are just probably looking at it solely from their own economic standpoints, and not worrying about whether Middleton's gonna have 3 banks instead of 2. I don't think we're going to have a void forever. I think there's opportunity to create a more locally focused economic development program. No, we don't know what that looks like yet. We don't know who the partners are going to be yet. But I think it doesn't mean that we're not going to do anything for the businesses or the community ever again. And finally, I'd like to say that as Councillor Bartlett alluded to, the province is cutting back the funding on the RENs, making it a challenge for them to maintain the level of economic development services that they are providing in up and down the valley. I think we've heard from other communities, municipalities that are about to make the same change, anticipating that 24 months from now, there's not going to be enough resources provided by the province to make the effectiveness of the REN continue even to what level it is now, that it may become more sector targeted or project oriented. We're handcuffed by this 24-month notice clause in the program, which I understand. We're talking about people's jobs here, and we have to give them opportunity to finish their contracts and their projects. Would we like to have ride it out another year and only give 12 months? Probably. I would be in favor of that, but we don't have that opportunity. So I'm in favor of it for those reasons. I think it's an inevitability. I think the province has pushed us to this point. And I have commented in the past that I'm not convinced that our area has seen the most effective use of the REN program.
So my reply to at least one of those points would be, yeah, Valley REN was here, businesses closed. But how many stayed open because they were here? And because of that, because they have a confidentiality agreement, they can't name businesses that they've talked to and stay to.
And we don't need names, but they should be able to provide numbers, and they haven't done that.
But did we not, I think an email was sent out, but regardless, I know there's at least one. And we're making a change without knowing, we can say there's gonna be an economic development something, but we don't know what that something is. And that's been tried here before. And, outside of Midnight Madness and a few window decorating things, it didn't go very well. So.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen, for that. Yes, Deputy Mayor.
Well, thank you, Your Worship. I am kind of 2 minds about the Valley REN. And through our intermunicipal working group meetings with the representatives from the town of Annapolis and the county of Annapolis, both of those parties are not a member of the REN. But we are. We've talked about, we had on contract, we had a lady, Daniela, who seemed to be making great strides, but it was a contract position. And all that data is still obtained, I think, at the town of Annapolis. We seem to, at the intermunicipal working group meeting, felt that the work that she was doing was valuable. However, that ended, and we were part of the REN. Not that that would impose anything on the town of Annapolis or the county of Annapolis. And in this budget this year, as we can see, we don't have any latitude for an economic development person or be partner of. I've been on council since 2016 or 10 years. We've been part of the Valley REN during that time. And I know there are businesses that have benefited directly from the from an employment point of view for folks outside of here. Which I think is, it's humongous. For me, I don't know what value the town of Middleton has received from the Valley Wren, other than those individual businesses that we talked about before that have benefited, and that's perfect, and that's what it's there for. The other question I have is we're gonna give notice, and we have a 2-year period. Suddenly in 36 months, we decide that, geez, they're doing good work, they're representing people. Can you withdraw your withdrawal from the Wren?
So you cannot with the new agreement. I'm just gonna take a second, and pull it up, and I'll read what it actually says. But I think you have to pay to get back in, pay some sort of funding to get back in. Just give me one second. Any party who provides, this is number 39 in the agreement. A party who provides written notice cannot withdraw, renew, or extend their notice. Once written notice has been provided, that party will cease to be a party to the agreement effective April 1st, 24 months after notice is given. A party may rejoin the Valley Wren per provision 7 of this agreement and are required to make additional one-time payment of the base fee.
So they've written that, so it's a deterrent for anyone to really leave them, is the whole purpose of that.
To leave it and try to
Well, that's right.
come back easily.
One of the reasons that was, I think, written like that is there was a municipality that continued extending their 1-year notice at the end of that year. So 1 year, March 31st would come up, they'd want to extend for another year. And I believe this went on for 2 or 3 years. So it gives no, structure or no, you just don't know you're gonna have that money 1 year to the next. So that's why they did the 48 or the 24-month notice, and that's why they said that. But I suppose they also didn't expect that they were gonna be in this situation when that was all written up.
Oh, sorry.
No.
Yeah.
So, but hypothetically, if it's only the town of Middleton, and who else is there? Town of
So
Is the Valley Wren gonna be able to survive with 3 municipal units?
That's what that was.
The likelihood is probably not.
So currently, the three parties to the agreement that have not given notice are the town of Middleton, the town of Berwick, and Glooscap First Nation.
But the larger,
That have not given.
That have not given notice.
So both municipalities,
Counties.
regional counties have already
Yes.
given notice.
So
It's
West-
information.
West Hants
Yeah.
Regional Municipality has given notice, the County of Kings has given notice, the town of Kentville has given notice, and the town of Woolville. So there are 7 parties to the agreement, so the 4 largest ones have given notice. Right.
so whether we stay or whether we go, I think the writing's on the wall. That I don't think the Valley Wren is gonna be sustainable with 3 remaining partners.
Yes,
So
Councilor
my
Net.
quote on that would be, is what are we gonna end up paying if we do stay? And there's only 3 other. If there's only 3 of us in the whole Wren group, then our budget is gonna go up because they won't be able to function with what we have in the budget now,
Beyond the 24 months.
beyond the
Right.
24 months,
Right.
right?
I don't have an answer to that.
No,
That hasn't been
it's just a
discussed
thing.
yet, but
I mean,
presumably, yes, the services would either have to drastically decrease
Right,
with only funding, if we were to keep our funding the same.
right,
Or we would be required to pay more to,
right. And as I see our budget, we can't afford to pay more.
Just
Hold
comment.
on. Dan,
Councilor
did-
Yeah, Councilor Clifford.
I think in previous discussions, we talked about if all parties wanted to dissolve this particular organization, that it would be just a 12-month notice or wind up, if you will.
So I can read that part as well. So under term and termination in the agreement. Number 36 says the parties hereto may terminate this agreement for any reason at any time on agreement of all parties in writing with 60 days written notice. And then it says upon termination and subject to contractual obligations, the parties will examine the assets, liabilities, and surplus of the Valley Rend and return any net amount remaining pro rata in accordance with the parties' contribution since the effective date of this agreement. So, I do not know if everyone giving notice triggers that clause in the agreement. That would have to be discussed with the rest of the municipal units and parties to the agreement if that were to happen. I am under the understanding that the town of Berwick might be discussing this tomorrow, and as well as Moose Cat First Nation, so we may know more by the end of the day tomorrow. But there's a very important term in there, subject to contractual obligations, so we're not sure what the Valley Rend has for contractual obligations, so 60 days might not be realistic, given that they probably have a lease in place for their space. And things like that
Oh,
that
of
would have
course.
to be considered.
Yeah.
So I can't give you a firm answer on what it might look like. Yes, it might be able to be wrapped up before 24 months. But 60 days to me seems a bit unrealistic, so.
I'd be happy if it was 12 months instead of the 24, just because there are employment issues that should be considered as well.
Only that, the rent is functionally dead. When I first brought this forward a couple weeks ago, they hadn't gotten there type thing, and I still think I probably would have brought this forward. But, rent functionally is dead right now. I think it's with Berwick, ourselves, and Moose Cat First Nation. There's no way their budget would support that type thing, or their current operations. What I think we should be looking at is, we were talking about earlier establishing a Board of Economic Development for the town councilors, and so that as we push forward with that, I think we should be looking at what we can salvage out of the Rend, whether it be a training for our council and staff, whether they have training programs. I know they're big fans of the Doug Griffiths program. That sort of stuff that if we can salvage that economic development training, you can get them in before they wrap up to get some economic development training over them. I think that would serve us well going forward. That's what.
Okay. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Your Worship, you're very kind. I would just like to say that I agree with everyone. We do need to have some sort of economic voice. But I think this part, enough things have left the town of Middleton or the county of Annapolis. And I think that maybe not just us, but we're all gonna be in the same boat, and we have an intermunicipal working group. I'd just like to mention that maybe moving forward, when budgets allow and money allows, that be one of our key initiatives to work on economic development. And I don't mean just some of the comments that Councillor Bartlett had made, but I mean to dig in and try to promote this area and bring people and businesses in.
So just, sorry. Mayor, but just on, boards of trades and whatnot, we are part of the Annapolis Valley Chamber of Commerce. This is their catchment area to Lawrencetown, I think. That being said, you may want to check the rules around, we could have a business group, absolutely, like the now gone MABA, but I'm not sure that you can have a board of trade.
That's not what we were talking about. It was a Board of Economic Development here.
Oh, I get that too.
Yeah,
But it parallels.
Yeah, I'm talking about, Chamber of Commerce, it's very little activity in this area. Which, they should rename themselves King's Chamber of Commerce again. They own this area. Basically, they own this area down to Lawrencetown. So if we were gonna go and try to do anything like Bridgetown, which I believe has a Board of Trade, we may not be able to do that.
Thank you for that, John. Thanks for the discussion. Is somebody ready to make the motion? Motion.
Motion's been made, second.
Are we gonna, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those against?
Nay,
And would you like that in the minutes?
absolutely.
Okay. Go some back. Thank you. Alrighty. Oh, motion carried. Hopefully we'll get the note of that. Okay. That's it, that's all. That concludes our live streaming of today's meeting. Our next meeting will be the Committee of the Whole meeting on Tuesday, April 7th, 2026. The agenda package will be posted on the town website on Friday, April 3rd. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or ideas that would like to be addressed during the anything by citizens part of the agenda, please submit them to ea@town.middleton.ns.ca by noon on Tuesday, April 7th. Thank you for watching and have a great Easter.